Atlanta has seen its fair share of drama, but nothing prepared the city for this. What started as a quiet morning turned into pure chaos when Jasmine, Washington collapsed backstage during the taping of a Love and Hip Hop special. Witnesses say, she screamed Kendra's name right before hitting the floor, her phone still in her hand, and tears streaking down her face. Producers froze. Kirk was nowhere to be found. And Kendra, standing just feet away, had the look of someone who knew exactly what had just detonated. The air turned thick, cameras kept rolling, and the crew realized something bigger than a typical reunion blow-up was unfolding. Hours earlier, Kendra had received the final results of a long-awaited DNA test results that would rewrite years of tension, gossip, and whispered accusations. For years, the storyline between Jasmine and Kirk had been the backbone of Atlanta's wildest rumors, secret affairs, hidden babies, public humiliation, but now, it seemed the entire saga was built on a lie. Fans who once took sides are stunned, replaying every old episode, every suspicious glance, every quiet scene between Kirk and Jasmine, wondering how none of them saw this coming. She looked like she'd just lost her whole world, one witness said. Another insider revealed that Kendra had been planning to drop the truth live on air. Not out of cruelty, but because she was tired of everyone painting her as the villain. The DNA envelope had been burning a hole in her purse all week. When she finally opened it in front of the cameras, the silence that followed was almost unbearable. Kirk's name wasn't listed as the father. The moment Jasmine saw the paper, she stopped breathing for a second, whispering, "That can't be right," before everything went dark. Social media erupted within minutes. No way. Kirk been denying that baby for years, and he was actually right. One fan tweeted. Others accused Kendra of setting Jasmine up, calling it the coldest reveal in Love and Hip Hop history. Some say Mona Scott herself was seen pacing backstage, trying to decide whether to keep the footage or cut it before it reached air. But one thing's certain, the truth is out now, and it's breaking hearts in every direction. How did Kendra get the test? Why did she wait until this moment to reveal it? And what happens to Jasmine now that her entire story has been turned upside down? Stay tuned, because what happens next will shake not just the Frost family, but the entire Love and Hip Hop world. The tension backstage was unbearable. Jasmine lay slumped in a chair, her eyes wide and glassy, clutching the DNA results like a lifeline to a world that had just betrayed her. Kendra stood a few feet away, her arms crossed, her expression calm, yet unreadable, as if she had been preparing for this moment for years. The crew whispered among themselves, some trying to console Jasmine, others frozen in shock, unsure if they should intervene or let the drama unfold naturally. Kirk, who had been pacing outside, finally appeared in the doorway, his face pale, his hands trembling slightly as he tried to process what had just happened. The silence between the three of them was deafening. The kind of silence that speaks louder than any shout, heavier than any accusation. Every eye in the room was on Jasmine, waiting for her to speak, to react, to either forgive or explode. But she remained motionless, her mind racing faster than anyone could follow. "Jasmine, please, talk to me," Kirk whispered, his voice cracking under the weight of years of misunderstanding and suspicion. "I swear, I never." He stopped himself, realizing the words might be meaningless now. The envelope in Kendra's hand seemed to mock him, a simple piece of paper carrying a revelation that could dismantle everything he thought he knew. The audience watching live would never forget the rawness of this moment. Some crew members later described it as cinematic, as if the cameras had captured not just a reaction but an entire lifetime of betrayal, hope, and heartbreak in a single frame. Fans online began to theorize immediately, dissecting every movement, every facial twitch, every bead of sweat that formed on Kirk's forehead. The debate was instant. Did Kendra reveal the truth out of spite, or was she finally tired of carrying the weight of secrecy? Jasmine finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper, shaking as it cut through the tension like a knife. "Kendra, how could you? All these years, I trusted you." Her hands trembled as she held the paper, staring at Kirk, searching for answers in a man who had always been the center of the storm. Kirk's eyes softened, a mixture of guilt and disbelief, knowing that no matter what he said, the damage was done. "Jasmine, I never wanted this. I never wanted to hurt you," he pleaded, his voice raw, the emotion palpable. The crew tried to step closer, offering water, tissues, anything to ground the moment, but Jasmine waved them off. She needed this. She needed the confrontation, the truth laid bare without any filters, without any interference. Kendra finally spoke, her voice steady, almost a calm for the magnitude of what she was saying. "I didn't want to be the one to tell you like this, but the truth doesn't wait for the perfect moment. Kirk isn't the father." The words echoed around the room, bouncing off the walls, entering every camera, every microphone, every phone live streaming the chaos to millions of viewers. The reaction was immediate. Kirk's face drained of color, his jaw tightening as though the sentence had physically struck him. Jasmine's knees buckled slightly, and she gripped the armrests, trying to keep herself upright. The silence that followed was punctuated by the low hum of whispers, the distant sound of cameras adjusting, and the collective gasp of everyone in the room. It was as if time had stopped, everyone caught in the gravity of the revelation, none able to move forward until the truth had fully settled. Fans on social media erupted within seconds. Hashtags like #Jasmine collapse, #Kendra exposed, and #NotKirkBaby trended globally, with viewers dissecting every second of the footage. Memes, reaction videos, and live commentary flooded platforms, creating a frenzy that no producer could have anticipated. The storyline had gone from the expected dramatic tension to a level of betrayal and shock that was unprecedented. Insider accounts later revealed that Kendra had known the results for weeks, carefully plotting how to reveal them for maximum impact, balancing the desire for honesty with the inevitable heartbreak it would cause. Some called her ruthless, others called her brave, but all agreed the timing was impeccable in the world of reality television. Jasmine's closest friends, who had been present backstage, described her as nearly unrecognizable. She was quiet, but you could see the storm behind her eyes. One friend later said, "She wasn't just hurt, she was shattered. Every look, every breath seemed like it carried the weight of years of lies." Kirk tried to reach out, attempting to bridge the gap, but Jasmine pulled back, her arms shielding her. Her voice trembling as she whispered, "I can't. I need to think." The tension between them was thick, a tangible force that the cameras captured in every frame. It was more than just betrayal. It was the collapse of a narrative that fans had been invested in for years, the kind of plot twist that makes reality TV addictive and emotionally overwhelming at the same time. Kendra, standing firm, watched both of them, her face calm but her eyes reflecting the weight of her decision. She knew the consequences, the backlash, the inevitable debates that would rage online and in tabloids for weeks. Yet she also knew that some truths are too important to hide, no matter how devastating. "I didn't do this to hurt anyone," she said finally, her voice low but firm. "I did this because the truth matters. It always has, and it always will." The room remained silent for a long moment, the only sound, the faint rustle of papers and the distant murmur of producers discussing what to do next. Every person present felt the gravity of the moment. Knowing that this wasn't just a scene for a show was a real emotional earthquake, leaving ripples that would extend far beyond the walls of that studio. As the minutes passed, Jasmine slowly composed herself, wiping the tears from her face, her hands still trembling. Kirk stayed close but didn't force the interaction, understanding that this moment was hers alone to process. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every nuance, every flicker of emotion, every pause that spoke volumes more than words ever could. Fans would later describe the footage as haunting, raw, and unforgettable, a testament to the power of truth and the devastation of betrayal. Somewhere between disbelief and sorrow, the first seeds of a new narrative began to grow, a story of revelation, heartbreak, and the uncertain path to resolution. The story then expanded beyond the room. Family members, who had been waiting backstage for their own moment of intervention, began to react. Whispers turned into arguments, arguments turned into confrontations. Some took sides immediately. Others tried to mediate. The family was left divided. Emotions ran high, and every accusation hung in the air like a storm about to break. Cousins, aunts, and longtime friends debated over who had the right to reveal the truth, who had been wronged the most, and who had handled the revelation poorly. The drama spilled onto social media, interviews were requested, and fans demanded explanations. Every interaction, every reaction fueled the fire, making it clear that this story would dominate headlines and online discussions for weeks to come. Producers struggled to contain the narrative while also ensuring that the show captured the chaos authentically. Cameras caught Kirk and Jasmine in quiet moments, whispered conversations, and pointed glances, each frame edited to emphasize tension, mistrust, and raw emotion. Kendra's composure, meanwhile, provided a stark contrast, highlighting the complexity of her role: not villain, not hero, but the bearer of a truth too heavy for anyone to ignore. Insiders say that the production team knew this would be a historic moment, one that would redefine relationships, reputations, and the very fabric of the show's storyline. Fans watched live, holding their breath as the events unfolded, glued to every detail, every pause, every tear, every gasp. The aftermath was immediate. Fans debated online, analyzing every past episode, looking for clues they had missed. Articles were published dissecting the revelation, interviews were requested, and commentators speculated endlessly about how the story would continue. Jasmine, still recovering from the initial shock, faced a dual challenge, processing her own emotions while also navigating the public scrutiny that had now become inevitable. Kirk, equally shaken, tried to maintain his composure, aware that the cameras captured every misstep, every sign of weakness, every flicker of emotion. Kendra, meanwhile, became the center of a storm she had anticipated but could not have fully predicted. Her role as truth-bearer, both lauded and criticized. As the night wore on, backstage conversations continued. The room, once filled with silence and shock, now buzzed with tension, speculation, and whispered strategies. Every person present had an opinion, every glance was interpreted as a statement, and every silence became a canvas for assumptions. The emotional complexity was palpable, the kind of drama that made reality television both addictive and emotionally taxing. One crew member later said that it felt like witnessing history, the kind of moment that would be referenced for years, replayed in compilations, and discussed endlessly by fans, critics, and insiders alike. The city outside had no idea how much chaos had just been unleashed inside a single studio room. Fans speculated about the fallout, some defending Jasmine, some siding with Kendra, others criticizing Kirk for past actions. The narrative had expanded beyond the studio, beyond the show, into a cultural phenomenon, where emotions ran high and alliances shifted with every revelation. The DNA test had not just answered a question, it had rewritten histories, shattered perceptions, and ignited debates that showed no signs of slowing down. The storm was just beginning, and everyone knew that the days ahead would be filled with even more drama, confrontations, and shocking twists, as relationships were tested, loyalties questioned, and truths confronted in ways no one could have imagined. The tension in the room lingered long after the initial shock. Jasmine, now sitting upright, but visibly exhausted, tried to make sense of her world, a world that had suddenly shifted beneath her feet. Kirk remained close, silent but attentive, his emotions barely contained, while Kendra maintained her calm exterior, the keeper of a revelation that had changed everything. The cameras captured every nuanced movement, every fleeting expression, every unspoken thought, providing an unfiltered lens into the raw humanity of the moment. Fans would later call it a masterclass in reality television drama, an emotional roller coaster that showcased heartbreak, betrayal, and the unexpected twists that define the genre. The night ended with unresolved tension, the story far from complete, and the characters trapped in a web of emotions that would take time to unravel. Backstage, whispered conversations hinted at future confrontations, alliances, and betrayals, setting the stage for what promised to be the most explosive episodes in love and hip-hop history. The city had witnessed the collapse, the reveal, and the immediate aftermath, but the larger story was still unfolding, each character navigating the consequences of truth, loyalty, and deception. Fans around the world waited with bated breath, knowing that this was only the beginning of a saga that would dominate headlines, social media, and the hearts of viewers for weeks to come. The tension, the heartbreak, and the drama were palpable. The DNA test was more than just a piece of paper, it was a catalyst that shattered illusions, exposed vulnerabilities, and forced every character to confront realities they had long avoided. Jasmine's collapse was emblematic of the emotional stakes, Kirk's silence a testament to guilt and disbelief, and Kendra's calm and unsettling reminder that some truths cannot be ignored. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every second, every tear, every subtle shift in emotion, ensuring that fans would not just witness history, they would feel it, live it, and debate it for years to come. The storm had arrived, and love and hip-hop would never be the same. The morning after the shocking reveal felt surreal. Jasmine had retreated to a quiet corner of her home, phone in hand, scrolling through messages from fans, friends, and even strangers who all had their own theories about the DNA test. Some offered sympathy, others cast doubt, and many just wanted to relive the collapse over and over. Kirk, on the other hand, paced in his own space, replaying every moment, every expression, every word exchanged. He wondered if there had been signs he missed, cues he ignored, or if the entire narrative had been set in motion long before anyone had known. The public scrutiny was relentless, and the emotional toll was immense. The once clear lines of trust, love, and loyalty were now blurred into a complex tapestry of pain, confusion, and resentment. Backstage at the studio, producers scrambled to manage the fallout. Crew members who had been silent witnesses to the chaos were now called to give interviews, statements, and sometimes even reenactments of moments that had already been captured on tape. The cameras, however, never stopped rolling. Every tear, every tremble, every awkward pause became content, and every reaction fueled speculation, debates, and social media frenzy. Insiders reported that the tension backstage was nearly unbearable, with some staff members needing to step away just to regain composure. Emotions ran high, not just for the main players, but for everyone caught in the ripple effects of the revelation. Jasmine's friends arrived, trying to console her, but even their presence was not enough to calm the storm raging inside her. I don't even know who to trust anymore," she whispered, the tears refusing to stop. Kirk approached cautiously, his voice low, filled with genuine remorse. "I never wanted any of this to happen, Jasmine. I never wanted to be the cause of your pain." But words alone could not erase years of betrayal, suspicion, and uncertainty. Kendra, watching from a distance, remained composed. She knew the revelation was devastating, but she also understood that truth, however painful, was the only thing that could set the stage for eventual healing or more chaos. The public response was immediate and overwhelming. Hashtags flooded social media, trending globally within minutes. Memes, reaction videos, and debates dominated every platform. Fans dissected every detail of the collapse, from Jasmine's initial reaction to Kirk's expressions, trying to determine who had been honest, who had been manipulative, and who had been blindsided. Online commentators debated Kendra's motives, questioning whether her timing had been strategic, cruel, or simply inevitable. Some claimed it was a calculated power move. Others argued it was an act of integrity. The discourse was intense, emotional, and relentless, reflecting the deep investment viewers had in the personal lives of reality television stars. Meanwhile, family members weighed in, their own emotions raw and unpredictable. Some defended Jasmine, claiming she had been set up, manipulated, and betrayed. Others sided with Kendra, arguing that revealing the truth was the only way to bring clarity to years of speculation and false narratives. The family was left divided, tensions escalating with each conversation. Arguments flared over text messages, phone calls, and in-person confrontations. The emotional fallout extended beyond the studio, spilling into the homes and lives of everyone connected to the story. The drama that had begun as a private revelation was now a public spectacle, each reaction amplified by social media and news coverage. As the days passed, the narrative continued to unfold. Interviews with insiders revealed that the DNA test had been a source of anxiety for months. Kendra had struggled with when and how to reveal the results, knowing that the timing could either minimize or maximize the emotional impact. Meanwhile, Jasmine wrestled with feelings of betrayal, confusion, and heartbreak, struggling to reconcile the revelation with her own understanding of events. Kirk, too, faced a personal reckoning, reflecting on his role, his decisions, and the years of tension that had led to this explosive moment. The emotional complexity of the situation ensured that no simple resolution was possible. Social media became a battleground. Fans took sides, each defending their preferred narrative, each dissecting every clip, every glance, and every subtle gesture. Debates raged about Kendra's intentions, Kirk's involvement, and Jasmine's reaction. Some praised Kendra for her courage in revealing the truth. Others condemned her for the pain it caused. Kirk's silence in certain moment for her hand, only to have it pulled back sharply. The cameras captured every nuance, every subtle gesture, every flicker of emotion, providing viewers with an intimate look into the unfolding drama. The audience online responded immediately, sharing clips, creating reaction videos, and debating the dynamics of the confrontation in real time. Family members, who had been largely silent during the initial collapse, now became active participants in the unfolding story. Whispers turned into arguments escalated into heated debates, and the emotional intensity reached levels that some crew members admitted were almost unbearable to witness. Cousins, aunts, and close friends all had their opinions, each interpretation adding another layer to the already complex narrative. Alliances shifted unpredictably, with some defending Jasmine, others siding with Kendra, and a few attempting to maintain neutrality while navigating the emotional chaos around them. Meanwhile, social media continued to amplify every moment. Fans meticulously analyzed every frame, every expression, and every word exchanged between the three central figures. Debates raged about motivations, emotional authenticity, and the possible implications for future episodes. Commentators speculated on the long-term effects of the DNA reveal, predicting new conflicts, alliances, and confrontations that would keep viewers engaged for months. The story had grown beyond the confines of the studio, becoming a global spectacle, where emotions ran high and opinions clashed endlessly. As the taping continued, Jasmine's emotional journey became increasingly visible. Moments of vulnerability, anger, and sorrow interwove with flashes of defiance and resilience. Creating a complex, emotionally charged narrative, Kirk oscillated between remorse, frustration, and tentative attempts at reconciliation. Each movement scrutinized by both the cameras and a highly invested audience. Kendra remained the calm center of the storm. Her measured response is a stark contrast to the turbulence around her. The interplay between these three figures created a dynamic, multifaceted story that kept both viewers and participants on edge. Backstage conversations revealed deeper layers of tension. Long-standing grudges, unspoken resentments, and historical conflicts resurfaced, intersecting with the immediate emotional fallout of the DNA revelation. Friends and family navigated a labyrinth of loyalties and betrayals, each interaction adding new complexity to the narrative. The drama extended beyond the central figures, touching everyone connected to the story and ensuring that the emotional stakes remained high. Every word, every glance, every silence was laden with significance, amplifying the intensity of the unfolding events. The emotional climax of the day came during a heated exchange between Jasmine and Kirk. Voices were raised, tears flowed freely, and the raw intensity of years of unspoken tension finally erupted into a public confrontation. "I trusted you, Kirk. I gave you everything," Jasmine screamed, her voice breaking with emotion. Kirk's response was equally charged, a mixture of regret and defiance. "I never asked for this, Jasmine. I never wanted any of it." The cameras captured the full spectrum of emotion, broadcasting a confrontation that would dominate headlines, social media discussions, and fan debates for weeks to come. Producers scrambled to ensure the moment was captured authentically, balancing the need for dramatic content with concern for the emotional well-being of those involved. Crew members whispered guidance, offered discreet interventions, and prepared for potential emotional breakdowns, knowing that the intensity of the confrontation could escalate further at any moment. Every second was critical, every reaction a potential headline, and every subtle shift in demeanor a source of fascination for a global audience. Outside the immediate drama, the city buzzed with anticipation. Fans speculated about future developments, analyzed past episodes for hidden clues, and debated the morality, ethics, and emotional consequences of the DNA revelation. Social media was flooded with hashtags, commentary, memes, and video clips dissecting every interaction. The public fascination was relentless, a reflection of the deep emotional investment viewers had in the unfolding reality television saga. The story had transcended entertainment, becoming a cultural phenomenon where emotions, loyalty, and truth collided on a massive stage. As the day came to a close, backstage remained tense and unpredictable. Jasmine retreated to a quiet corner, reflecting on the emotional whirlwind, while Kirk attempted to offer support, and Kendra observed from a distance, the keeper of a truth that had reshaped the narrative entirely. The cameras continued to roll, capturing every detail, every subtle interaction, and every unspoken thought. Fans around the world anticipated the next installment, eager to witness the fallout, the confrontations, and the inevitable twists that would continue to define this unprecedented chapter in reality television history. The fallout from the DNA revelation extended into the social media sphere, where commentary, speculation, and emotional reactions surged. Every nuance, gesture, and statement was analyzed, discussed, and debated endlessly. Alliances were scrutinized, motivations questioned, and every emotional display became content for fans and commentators alike. The narrative had expanded far beyond the studio, becoming a global conversation about truth, betrayal, and the human cost of reality television drama. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, producers and crew navigated a complex landscape of emotions, logistics, and narrative strategy. Capturing the raw intensity of the unfolding events required both sensitivity and precision. Every camera angle, every shot, Every close-up was carefully considered to maximize emotional impact while preserving the authenticity of the moment. The interplay of preparation, spontaneity, and human emotion created a tapestry of drama that was as unpredictable as it was compelling. Jasmine's emotional trajectory continued to evolve. Moments of vulnerability alternated with bursts of anger and defiance, creating a dynamic, multi-layered performance that resonated with both the cameras and the live audience. Kirk struggled to balance remorse with emotional authenticity, navigating a complex web of personal guilt, public scrutiny, and lingering tension. Kendra remained the emotional anchor, her controlled demeanor serving as a counterpoint to the chaos swirling around her. The interactions among the three created a narrative rich in tension, emotional complexity, and dramatic potential. Family members and close friends remained deeply involved, their own emotions and loyalties adding layers of complexity to the unfolding story. Whispered conversations escalated into open confrontations, each interaction reshaping alliances, deepening conflicts, and heightening emotional stakes. The drama extended beyond the primary figures, touching everyone connected to the unfolding events and ensuring that the story remained dynamic, unpredictable, and intensely engaging for viewers. The day concluded with unresolved tension, emotional fatigue, and anticipation for future developments. Backstage, the storm of emotions lingered, the narrative threads of betrayal, heartbreak, and revelation still tightly woven and far from resolved. The cameras captured every nuance, preserving a record of a pivotal moment in reality television history that would dominate discussion, speculation, and emotional investment for weeks to come. The story had shifted dramatically, and the stakes had never been higher, setting the stage for continued drama, confrontation, and revelation that would keep viewers captivated. The following morning brought an uneasy calm, a fragile silence that hung over the studio like a storm cloud about to break. Jasmine arrived first, her movements slow and deliberate, each step weighed down by the lingering shock of the DNA revelation. Her hands shook slightly as she held her phone, reading messages from fans, friends, and even strangers who all had their own opinions, their own judgments, and their own unsolicited advice. Kirk arrived shortly after, his demeanor tense, his jaw tight and his eyes betraying a storm of guilt, frustration, and unresolved emotion. Kendra, already present, sat with a controlled posture, calm on the surface but keenly aware of the power and responsibility her revelation had unleashed. The crew moved quietly around them, careful not to disturb the fragile equilibrium, knowing that one wrong word or gesture could reignite the firestorm. Filming began slowly, with cameras capturing every subtle expression, every hesitation, every glance that passed between the three central figures. Jasmine's friends hovered nearby, whispering encouragement and reassurance, but their presence seemed only to emphasize the depth of her emotional turmoil. "I don't know who to trust anymore," she whispered under her breath, the tremor in her voice betraying the turmoil roiling inside. Kirk approached cautiously, his tone gentle yet desperate. "You're still you, Jasmine. This doesn't define you. This changes nothing about who you are inside." But the words fell flat, unable to penetrate the layers of hurt, betrayal, confusion that had accumulated over years of miscommunication and mistrust. The first confrontation of the day erupted when Jasmine finally faced Kendra directly. "Why wait?" Jasmine demanded, her voice quivering but steady, eyes locked on the woman who had just upended her life. "Why not tell me sooner?" Kendra's response was deliberate, measured, and chilling in its calmness. "Because some truths have to be revealed when they are ready. Jasmine, the longer we live in lies, the deeper the hurt becomes. I did what I had to do." The tension between them was nearly tangible, a collision of betrayal, resentment, and reluctant admiration for Kendra's nerve in delivering the revelation with precision. Every movement, every word, every glance became fodder for the cameras, capturing a reality so raw that viewers could almost feel the weight of the emotions. Kirk's attempts to mediate only heightened the intensity. He reached for Jasmine's hand, offering comfort and solidarity, but she pulled back sharply, her pain too fresh, her trust too fractured. "This isn't about you," she whispered, a tremor in her voice that spoke volumes. The cameras followed every motion, broadcasting a drama that felt painfully real. Fans online immediately dissected each clip, replaying seconds, repeatedly, theorizing motivations, questioning authenticity, and debating every subtle gesture and expression. Hashtags exploded across social media, trending globally within minutes. Hashtag Jasmine collapse, hashtag not Kirk baby, and hashtag Kendra truth dominated discussions. with fan reactions ranging from shock to outrage to sympathy. Family members, who had been largely passive observers during the initial fallout, now inserted themselves into the narrative, escalating tensions with their own perspectives, opinions, and emotional reactions. Whispered conversations grew louder, debates turned into arguments, and alliances shifted unpredictably. Cousins, aunts, and close friends argued over who had acted rightly, who had been wronged most profoundly, and who had mishandled the revelation. The family became a microcosm of the larger drama, their interactions a reflection of the emotional complexity and high stakes at play. Each side fought to assert its narrative, heightening the tension and ensuring that the drama remained dynamic and unpredictable. Backstage, producers worked feverishly to manage the unfolding chaos. Crew members whispered directions, offered discreet interventions, and monitored emotional triggers, attempting to capture the raw intensity of the interactions while preventing a total breakdown. Cameras captured everything: Kirk's hesitant attempts at reconciliation, Jasmine's oscillating vulnerability and defiance, and Kendra's unwavering composure. Every second of footage was carefully curated to maximize dramatic effect while preserving authenticity. Insiders later described the day as one of the most intense and emotionally charged in reality television history. Social media's response was immediate and relentless. Fans analyzed every frame, every facial twitch, every micro-expression, debating motives, emotional authenticity, and the potential fallout. Some praised Kendra for her courage, others condemned her timing. While many sympathized deeply with Jasmine, Kirk's silence and hesitancy became a focal point, interpreted variously as guilt, remorse, or stoic endurance. The narrative had expanded beyond the studio, creating a global conversation where emotions ran high, allegiances shifted constantly, and opinions clashed fiercely. As filming progressed, the emotional tension escalated further. Jasmine's raw vulnerability alternated with moments of fiery defiance, creating a dynamic, multi-layered narrative. Kirk oscillated between regret, frustration, and cautious attempts at reconciliation, while Kendra remained a calm and steady presence, a pillar around which the storm swirled. The interplay of these three personalities created a compelling, high-stakes story that drew viewers into the unfolding drama, ensuring that attention and emotional investment remained at a peak. Family members and friends became increasingly vocal, their own unresolved conflicts and loyalties surfacing amidst the ongoing chaos. Whispered conversations quickly escalated to arguments, each interaction adding new layers of tension and drama. Alliances shifted unpredictably, with some defending Jasmine, others siding with Kendra, and a few attempting to mediate while navigating the emotional minefield. The complex web of relationships, loyalty, and personal stakes created a fertile ground for continued drama, ensuring that the narrative remained both dynamic and unpredictable. The emotional climax of the day occurred during a heated exchange between Jasmine and Kirk. Voices rose, tears flowed, and the raw intensity of years of unspoken tension exploded in a public confrontation. "I trusted you. I gave you everything," Jasmine shouted, her voice trembling with rage and heartbreak. Kirk responded with equal intensity, a mixture of regret, defense, and frustration. "I never asked for this. I never wanted any of it." The cameras captured every nuance, every subtle gesture, every fleeting expression, creating a moment of reality television drama that would dominate social media, fan discussions, and entertainment news coverage for weeks. Producers and crew worked frantically to ensure the footage was captured without interruption, balancing the need for dramatic content with concern for the emotional well-being of those involved. Crew members offered discreet support, whispered guidance, and prepared for any emotional escalation, understanding that every second of the confrontation carried both narrative significance and emotional weight. The cameras framed every movement, every glance, and every pause to maximize dramatic effect while maintaining authenticity. Fans online continued to dissect every interaction, speculating on motivations, emotional states, and potential consequences. Social media became a battleground for opinion, analysis, and debate. Alliances were scrutinized, emotions analyzed, and the repercussions of the DNA revelation discussed endlessly. The story had grown beyond the studio, becoming a cultural phenomenon in which personal emotions, public perception, and reality television drama collided on a global scale. Meanwhile, backstage tension persisted. Jasmine retreated to a quiet corner, attempting to process the whirlwind of emotion, public scrutiny, and personal upheaval. Kirk stayed nearby, offering silent support, while Kendra observed from a distance, her calm presence a reminder of the weight and responsibility of her revelation. The cameras recorded every nuance, preserving a raw, unfiltered record of a pivotal moment in reality television history. Fans around the world anticipated the next developments, eager to witness the fallout, confrontations, and unforeseen twists that would continue to define this unprecedented saga. The DNA revelation's impact continued to ripple across the extended circle of friends, family, and colleagues. Relationships were tested, loyalties challenged, and the foundation of trust shaken. Each interaction carried additional weight, influencing future decisions and shaping the trajectory of the unfolding narrative. The emotional stakes remained high, ensuring that the story would continue to evolve in dramatic, unpredictable, and highly engaging ways. As the day came to an end, backstage remained tense and unresolved. Emotional fatigue, lingering anger, and unresolved conflicts hung in the air, setting the stage for future confrontations and drama. The cameras captured the smallest gestures, the fleeting glances, and the subtle shifts in tone that conveyed volumes without words. The narrative had been irrevocably altered, with the DNA test serving as a catalyst that reshaped relationships, reputations, and storylines in ways that were unpredictable and compelling. Fans, insiders, and media commentators agreed that this was a turning point in reality television, a moment that transcended entertainment to become a global phenomenon. Emotions ran high, alliances shifted, and the tension between truth, betrayal, and personal loyalty created a narrative rich in complexity and drama. The storm set in motion by Kendra's revelation was far from over, and viewers around the world waited with bated breath for the next installment of this unforgettable saga. Every movement, every pause, every glance between Jasmine, Kirk, and Kendra was scrutinized, analyzed, and debated across social media, forums, and entertainment news outlets. The narrative had expanded far beyond the studio walls, reaching a global audience eager for insight, explanation, and the next dramatic twist. The interplay of betrayal, heartbreak, and revelation ensured that the story remained emotionally charged and endlessly compelling, capturing the attention of millions and solidifying its place as a landmark moment in reality television history. The day ended, but the reverberations of the DNA revelation were only beginning to unfold. Backstage, the characters navigated complex emotions, shifting dynamics, and unresolved conflicts, while the cameras preserved every moment for audiences around the world. The storm of drama, heartbreak, and tension ensured that the narrative would continue to evolve, maintaining suspense, engagement, and emotional intensity in the episodes to come. The next day brought an eerie tension that seemed to settle over the entire studio like a heavy fog. Jasmine arrived early again, dragging her feet, her face pale, her eyes reflecting a mixture of exhaustion and determination. The previous day's confrontations had left her emotionally raw, yet there was a sense of steely resolve in her movements. Kirk arrived soon after, his demeanor cautious, almost tentative, as if he were walking on eggshells around a minefield of emotions he had little control over. Kendra was already on set, seated with perfect posture, her calm exterior masking the awareness of the storm she had unleashed. The crew moved quietly around them, the atmosphere thick with anticipation and unease, knowing that today's interactions could erupt at any moment. Filming began, and the cameras captured every small, charged movement. Jasmine's friends hovered near her, whispering soft reassurances, but she seemed only partially present, her mind circling the DNA revelation repeatedly. "I feel like my entire world just flipped," she whispered, almost to herself. Kirk approached, trying to offer comfort, his voice low and steady. "We'll get through this, Jasmine, I promise, but we need to face it together." She glanced at him, a mixture of anger, hurt, and disbelief flickering across her face, before turning away. The tension was palpable, each unspoken thought hanging heavily in the air, magnified by the ever-present cameras. As the day progressed, confrontations grew more intense. Jasmine eventually faced Kendra again, the confrontation brimming with emotion. "How could you let me live with this lie for so long?" she demanded, tears threatening to spill. Kendra's voice remained calm, almost unnervingly so, because sometimes the truth can't be delivered sooner. "It's a burden, yes, but it's also the only path to clarity. I did what was necessary." The dynamic between them was electric, a collision of betrayal, resentment, and a grudging recognition of Kendra's resolve. The cameras captured every nuance, every subtle shift in posture, every trembling hand, broadcasting a drama that was raw and unfiltered. Kirk's attempts to mediate only heightened the tension. He reached for Jasmine's hand, offering comfort, but she pulled back sharply, her trust fractured and her emotions raw. "It's not about you," she said, her voice breaking with suppressed anguish. The audience at home dissected every movement, replaying clips repeatedly, debating motivations, and theorizing about future confrontations. Hashtags exploded across social media. Hashtag Truth Hurts, hashtag Kendra Reveal, hashtag Jasmine Heartbreak, fueling fan engagement and drawing millions into the unfolding saga. The emotional stakes were enormous, with each new moment threatening to tip the balance between reconciliation and complete collapse. Family members weighed in more aggressively today. Cousins, aunts, and friends became vocal, each side staking out their perspective, arguing over the ethics, timing, and impact of the DNA reveal. Long-standing grudges surfaced, inflaming emotions and fueling new confrontations. Alliances shifted unpredictably, and the once stable social dynamics of the family crumbled under the weight of conflicting loyalties and simmering resentments. Whispers escalated to shouting, private conversations erupted into public disputes, and the drama extended far beyond the original revelation. Backstage, producers worked frantically to manage the chaos. Crew members whispered instructions, intervened discreetly when emotions ran too high, and monitored triggers for potential breakdowns. Every camera angle, every close-up, and every reaction was meticulously planned to capture the emotional intensity while maintaining some semblance of order. Insiders later described the day as one of the most intense and emotionally charged in reality television history. A day when raw human emotion was on full display, and no one was left untouched by the fallout. Social media continued to explode. Fans analyzed every frame, every glance, and every micro expression, debating authenticity, motivations, and the implications for future episodes. Some praised Kendra for her courage. Others condemned her for timing and perceived cruelty, while many sympathized with Jasmine's heartbreak. Kirk's hesitancy and emotional restraint became central to fan discussions, with interpretations ranging from guilt to stoicism to silent suffering. The narrative expanded beyond the studio, creating a global conversation in which emotional investment ran high and opinions clashed fiercely. The emotional intensity escalated further when Jasmine confronted Kirk alone. "I trusted you with everything," she cried, her voice breaking under the weight of years of disappointment and betrayal. Kirk's response was filled with equal intensity, a mixture of regret, defensiveness, and heartfelt sincerity. "I never wanted any of this to happen. I never asked for it." The cameras captured the full spectrum of emotion, broadcasting a raw confrontation that became the centerpiece of social media discussions and fan debates. The clash of heartbreak and frustration provided viewers with a narrative that was both compelling and emotionally resonant. Friends and family continued to navigate the complex emotional terrain. Whispered conversations became arguments, loyalties were tested, and tensions escalated. Some sided with Jasmine, advocating for her emotional recovery and justice, while others supported Kendra, emphasizing the importance of truth and transparency. The drama extended far beyond the three central figures, touching everyone connected to the story, and ensuring that emotional stakes remained high and the narrative unpredictable. Backstage moments revealed more personal conflicts. Crew members, though professional, were emotionally impacted, witnessing the intense emotional exchanges and the ripple effects on everyone involved. Each tear, every raised voice, and every subtle gesture carried weight, influencing subsequent interactions and shaping the unfolding story. The emotional complexity of the situation ensured that every participant in camera or behind the scenes was deeply affected by the events of the day. As filming continued, the narrative reached multiple new peaks. Jasmine oscillated between anger, sorrow, and resilience. Kirk balanced remorse with tentative attempts at reconciliation, and Kendra remained the unwavering keeper of truth. The interplay between the three created a compelling, multidimensional story that captivated viewers and kept the tension high. Each new interaction layered additional complexity, making predictions about future outcomes nearly impossible. The drama, heartbreak, and tension ensured audience engagement remained at a maximum. By late afternoon, the emotional crescendo was palpable. Jasmine faced another confrontation with Kendra, voices raised, tears flowing, and emotions raw. "You changed everything about my life," she shouted, her pain laid bare. Kendra's response was calm but firm. "I gave you the truth. It hurts, yes, but it is necessary. You can't build a future on lies." The cameras captured the subtle shifts, the micro-expressions, the trembling hands, and the controlled responses, creating an intimate portrayal of human emotion that resonated deeply with viewers. Producers and crew monitored the situation closely, aware that emotional collapse could occur at any moment. Careful planning and constant observation were necessary to maintain order while ensuring authenticity. Every camera movement, every angle, and every shot was designed to heighten drama without pushing the participants beyond what was bearable. The result was a carefully orchestrated balance of tension, emotion, and raw reality, providing viewers with a gripping narrative that felt both real and sensationalized. Outside the studio, social media engagement skyrocketed. Fans dissected every moment, creating reaction videos, memes, and theories about the ongoing conflict. Alliances were debated, emotional authenticity questioned, and the fallout of the DNA revelation analyzed from every angle. The narrative had expanded beyond the studio, engaging a global audience in a collective experience of drama, heartbreak, and anticipation. Viewers became invested not only in the characters but in the unfolding trajectory of the story itself. The day ended with unresolved tension, emotional fatigue, and anticipation for what would come next. Backstage, Jasmine reflected on her emotional journey. Kirk offered silent support, and Kendra remained the steadfast figure at the center of the storm. The cameras preserved every nuance, every glance, every gesture, ensuring that the unfolding drama would continue to captivate audiences. The narrative threads of betrayal, heartbreak, and revelation remained tightly woven, setting the stage for future confrontations and dramatic developments. The ripple effects of the DNA revelation continued. Relationships, loyalties, and trust were tested, and every interaction carried additional weight. The emotional stakes remained high, ensuring that the story would evolve in unexpected, dramatic, and highly engaging ways. The storm unleashed by Kendra's revelation was far from over, guaranteeing that viewers would remain captivated, invested, and emotionally entangled in the ongoing saga. Backstage, the tension persisted into the night. Emotional exhaustion, lingering anger, and unresolved conflicts created a charged environment where any interaction could spark a new wave of drama. The cameras continued rolling, capturing the smallest details, ensuring that the story remained vivid, authentic, and compelling. The DNA test had shifted the narrative irreversibly, creating a complex web of emotion, betrayal, and revelation that would define relationships, reputations, and storylines for months to come. Fans, commentators, and insiders alike recognized the magnitude of the moment. Emotions were raw, loyalties fragile, and tension at its peak. The drama set in motion by the DNA revelation promised a narrative that would continue to unfold with unpredictability, intensity, and emotional resonance, cementing this chapter as a defining moment in reality television history. The following morning, atmosphere on set was taut, like a bowstring pulled to its limit, ready to snap at any unexpected sound. Jasmine arrived first, her expression guarded, eyes shadowed with sleepless nights and the weight of public scrutiny. Every step she took was deliberate, cautious, as though she feared that one wrong movement might ignite another emotional explosion. Kirk arrived shortly after, his movements hesitant, hands shoved into pockets, jaw tight, attempting to balance his lingering guilt with a desire to support Jasmine. Kendra sat calmly, serene on the surface, but every flicker in her eyes betrayed her awareness of the storm she had set into motion. The crew moved carefully around them, capturing every detail, aware that the smallest gesture could become headline content overnight. As filming began, the cameras zoomed in on subtle interactions, Jasmine's fingers twisting nervously, Kirk's hesitant glances, Kendra's controlled composure. Jasmine's friends hovered near, whispering soft reassurances. Yet their presence seemed to highlight her isolation, the deep fracture of trust that the DNA revelation had caused. "I feel like my entire world just shattered," she murmured, voice trembling but controlled, her words barely audible over the hum of equipment. Kirk's attempt at comfort was gentle, his tone tentative. "We'll figure this out, Jasmine. Together, I promise." She met his gaze briefly, anger and hurt swirling in her eyes, before turning away, retreating into her inner storm. The first major confrontation of the day erupted unexpectedly. Jasmine, unable to contain her rising anxiety, confronted Kendra directly. "Why now? Why not tell me sooner?" she demanded, tears glistening in her eyes. Kendra's calm response cut through the tension like ice. "Truth has its time, Jasmine. Too early, and it can destroy. Too late, and it hurts. I did what was necessary." The collision of emotions, betrayal, rage, confusion, and grudging respect for Kendra's composure created an almost palpable tension. The cameras captured each movement, each flicker of emotion, broadcasting an intimate portrait of heartbreak and confrontation to viewers worldwide. Kirk attempted to mediate, but his presence seemed to inflame emotions further. He reached for Jasmine's hand, a gesture of support and solidarity, only to have it sharply pulled back. "It's not about you," she whispered, her voice breaking with suppressed pain. Online, fans dissected the footage frame by frame, debating authenticity, motivations, and emotional truth. Hashtags such as #JasmineHeartbreak, #NotKirkBaby, and #Kendra revealed trended instantly, drawing millions into the unfolding drama. Each comment and post amplifying the stakes and deepening the narrative complexity. Family members, who had remained largely silent, now became active participants. Whispered conversations escalated to arguments, with cousins, aunts, and friends staking out positions and fiercely defending or criticizing actions. Long-buried resentments resurfaced, inflaming tensions and reshaping alliances. The once predictable dynamics of the family fractured further, turning the backstage area into a volatile mix of loyalties, confrontations, and emotionally charged confrontations. Every word, every gesture became loaded with meaning, intensifying the drama captured by the cameras. Producers and crew navigated a delicate balancing act, attempting to maintain order while capturing the heightened emotional intensity. Subtle guidance, discreet interventions, and careful monitoring of triggers were crucial to avoid emotional breakdowns while preserving authenticity. Every camera angle, close-up, and reaction was meticulously chosen to heighten drama, capturing the raw emotional energy while maintaining narrative coherence. Insiders later described this day as one of the most challenging and emotionally intense in reality television history. The audience's reaction was immediate and global. Fans analyzed every frame, expression, and word, debating the motivations, emotional authenticity, and potential consequences of each interaction. Some praised Kendra for delivering the truth, others condemned her timing, while countless viewers empathized with Jasmine's heartbreak. Kirk's hesitancy became a central topic, interpreted as guilt, regret, or silent endurance. The narrative had expanded far beyond the studio, creating a worldwide dialogue in which emotional investment, speculation, and debate intensified daily. Emotional intensity reached new heights as Jasmine and Kirk confronted each other privately. Voices rose, tears flowed, and years of unspoken tension erupted in raw confrontation. "I trusted you with everything," Jasmine shouted, her heartbreak laid bare for cameras and crew alike. Kirk responded with equal fervor, a mixture of remorse and frustration. "I never wanted any of this. I never asked for it." The clash of emotions created content that would dominate social media, commentary, and entertainment news for weeks. Fans relived every moment, discussing it endlessly, creating memes, reaction videos, and analysis posts that expanded the story's reach. Friends and family continued to fuel the drama, navigating their own complex emotions while interacting with the central figures. Whispered disputes escalated into loud confrontations, loyalties were tested, and alliances shifted unpredictably. The emotional narrative extended beyond the immediate triangle of Jasmine, Kirk, and Kendra, touching all who were connected and ensuring that the story remained dynamic, unpredictable, and compelling. Backstage, moments of reflection and private discussion revealed deeper layers of conflict. Crew members, though maintaining professional composure, were visibly affected by the raw emotional exchanges, the intensity of human reaction, and the ripple effects of the DNA revelation. Each tear, raised voice, and subtle glance carried weight, influencing subsequent interactions and shaping the narrative trajectory. The emotional complexity of the day ensured that everyone, from participants to crew, was deeply impacted by the unfolding drama. As the day progressed, new confrontations emerged. Jasmine's vulnerability interwove with moments of defiance and resilience, creating a multi-layered narrative that engaged viewers and kept tension high. Kirk balanced remorse with tentative attempts at reconciliation, while Kendra maintained the role of the calm, controlling presence. Their interactions formed a complex, emotionally charged story that captivated audiences, each twist and turn deepening engagement and increasing speculation about what would happen next. By late afternoon, the emotional crescendo became nearly unbearable. Jasmine faced Kendra in a heated, tearful confrontation. "You've changed everything about my life," she cried, her raw pain exposed for the cameras. Kendra's response was composed but unwavering. "I gave you the truth. It hurts, yes, but it's necessary. You cannot build a future on lies." The cameras captured every micro-expression, trembling hand, and subtle movement, creating a visceral portrayal of emotional reality that resonated deeply with viewers and amplified the global discussion. Producers maintained a careful balance, capturing authentic moments without pushing participants past their emotional limits. Every angle, reaction, and shot was designed to heighten drama while preserving credibility, creating a sequence that was both sensational and authentic. The result was a narrative that felt raw, compelling, and intensely human, engaging viewers across platforms and sustaining a high level of emotional investment. Outside the studio, social media engagement reached unprecedented levels. Fans dissected every interaction, speculated about intentions, and debated the fallout. Alliances and loyalties were analyzed, and the repercussions of the DNA reveal were discussed endlessly. The story had grown into a cultural phenomenon, with emotional investment, public perception, and narrative complexity intertwining to create a global spectacle. The day ended with unresolved tension. Backstage, Jasmine sought a quiet corner to process the emotional whirlwind. Kirk stayed nearby, offering support, and Kendra observed from a distance, her calm presence anchoring the storm. Cameras preserved every subtle glance, pause, and gesture, ensuring the continuing drama would remain vivid and compelling. The narrative threads of betrayal, heartbreak, and revelation were tightly woven, setting the stage for future confrontations and dramatic escalation. The DNA revelations' ripple effects persisted, trust and loyalty were tested, relationships strained, and every interaction carried heightened significance. Emotional stakes remained high, promising that the story would continue to evolve in unexpected, dramatic, and deeply engaging ways. The storm unleashed by Kendra's truth ensured ongoing tension, anticipation, and viewer investment. As night fell, backstage remained charged with unresolved conflict, emotional fatigue, lingering resentment, and uncertainty filled the air. Cameras continued rolling, capturing the smallest details, subtle gestures, and micro-interactions, preserving the raw reality of a narrative forever altered by the DNA revelation. Relationships, reputations, and storylines had shifted irreversibly, guaranteeing a saga that would captivate audiences for months to come. Fans, commentators, and insiders recognized the magnitude of the moment. Emotions ran high, alliances were fragile, and tension was at its peak. The drama set in motion promised a narrative that would continue to unfold unpredictably, intensely, and with profound emotional resonance, cementing this chapter as a defining moment in reality television history. The next morning dawned with a brittle quiet that hinted at the emotional storms still simmering beneath the surface. Jasmine arrived first, her steps measured, shoulders hunched slightly, as if carrying the weight of the past few days on her very bones. The faint traces of dark circles under her eyes told of restless nights spent replaying the DNA revelation over and over, trying to make sense of a world that had suddenly appended itself. Kirk arrived shortly afterward, moving with cautious deliberation, hands in his pockets, jaw set tight, eyes flicking repeatedly to Jasmine, searching for a flicker of trust, of forgiveness, of any signal that reconciliation might be possible. Kendra, serene and composed, was already seated, her posture perfect, a calm observer of the emotional chaos that she had ignited. The crew moved carefully, aware that any misstep could trigger a breakdown, and cameras rolled relentlessly, capturing every heartbeat, every flinch, every tremor in this human storm. Filming began in the tense stillness. Jasmine's friends hovered at a safe distance, whispering words of encouragement, their voices a soft counterpoint to the quiet dread that filled the room. "I can't even think straight," Jasmine murmured, her gaze fixed on the floor, her hands trembling slightly. Kirk approached, voice low, deliberate, trying to reach her through the layers of pain and mistrust. "We'll find a way through this. I'll stand by you, no matter what," he said, the sincerity in his tone barely cutting through the thick tension that hung like a fog. She glanced up at him, her eyes a kaleidoscope of anger, disbelief, and sorrow, before turning away again, retreating inward. The first confrontation of the day erupted without warning. Jasmine's emotions, held tightly in check for days, finally boiled over. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" she demanded of Kendra, her voice a trembling mixture of fury and anguish. Kendra's calm reply was precise, almost surgical in its delivery. "Because timing matters, Jasmine. The truth can destroy when delivered too soon. It must be revealed when it can be processed. I did what was necessary." The room seemed to vibrate with the collision of emotions: betrayal, grief, defiance, and reluctant admiration for Kendra's nerve in delivering the revelation. The cameras captured every micro-expression, every fleeting gesture, broadcasting a spectacle of raw emotion to audiences around the world. Kirk's attempts to mediate seemed only to inflame tensions further. Reaching for Jasmine's hand, a gesture meant to reassure and comfort, He was met with a sharp pullback. "It's not about you right now," she whispered, voice breaking under the weight of all she had lost and all she had discovered. The audience online dissected every frame, analyzing every nuance, debating authenticity, and speculating endlessly about the unfolding drama. Hashtags such as #Jasmine Collapse, #Kendra Truth, and #NotKirkBaby dominated social media feeds, amplifying the emotional stakes and spreading the story globally in a torrent of clicks, comments, and debates. Family dynamics erupted in chaotic intensity. Whispered conversations turned to heated arguments as cousins, aunts, and friends weighed in, each defending their perspective, each staking a claim in the moral and emotional landscape the DNA revelation had created. Long-hidden grudges surfaced, fueling new confrontations, while alliances shifted unpredictably. Every comment, glance, and whispered word became loaded with meaning, shaping both the narrative on screen and the complex social web surrounding the family. The set became a crucible where loyalty, love, and betrayal collided in unpredictable ways. Producers and crew navigated a delicate balance of tension and control, attempting to maintain order while preserving the authenticity that made reality television so compelling. Subtle interventions, careful monitoring of triggers, and precise camera work ensured that the emotional energy was captured without causing irreparable harm to the participants. Every angle, every close-up, and every lingering shot was chosen to maximize impact, capturing the intensity of a situation where human vulnerability was on full display. Insiders later described the day as one of the most emotionally charged and demanding in the history of reality television production. Audience engagement surged to unprecedented levels. Viewers scrutinized every glance, every hesitation, every word, debating the motivations, emotions, and consequences of each interaction. Some praised Kendra for her courage and commitment to truth. Others criticized her timing, while countless fans empathized deeply with Jasmine's heartbreak. Kirk's silence and measured responses became central to speculation, interpreted variously as guilt, stoic endurance, or conflicted love. The narrative had transcended the studio walls, becoming a global conversation, with real-time emotional investment driving engagement across platforms. The emotional intensity of the day escalated further when Jasmine and Kirk engaged in a private confrontation. Voices rose, tears fell, and years of unspoken pain surfaced in a volatile, heart-wrenching exchange. "I trusted you with everything," Jasmine cried, her anguish palpable and unfiltered. Kirk's voice trembled with a mix of regret and frustration. "I never asked for any of this. I never wanted it." The raw emotional collision created content that dominated social media, generated endless discussion, and reinforced the saga's status as a landmark reality television moment. Friends and family members continued to navigate the complex web of emotional stakes. Whispered conversations turned to arguments, loyalties were tested, and relationships shifted unpredictably. The narrative expanded beyond the three central figures, touching every individual connected to the drama and ensuring that the tension and engagement remained high. Emotional stakes remained dynamic, keeping viewers invested and analysts speculating about each potential twist. Backstage, subtle but critical moments unfolded. Crew members, though professional, were visibly affected by the intensity of the interactions, the cascading emotional waves, and the heightened stakes. Every tear, raised voice, and fleeting expression carried implications for subsequent interactions and the overall trajectory of the story. The emotional complexity ensured that the day would be remembered as a defining moment, not just for the participants but for everyone involved in capturing it. As the day wore on, confrontations became more frequent and intense. Jasmine's oscillation between vulnerability, rage, and defiance created a riveting emotional arc. Kirk attempted to balance remorse with careful support, while Kendra maintained her role as the calm, stabilizing force amidst chaos. The interplay of these three personalities generated a multi-layered, gripping narrative, keeping viewers engaged and speculation rampant about what might happen next. By evening, the emotional crescendo reached a new peak. Jasmine confronted Kendra, her voice breaking, tears streaming down her face. "You've destroyed my world," she shouted, her pain raw and exposed. Kendra's response was measured, unwavering. "I gave you the truth. It hurts, yes, but it was necessary. Only truth can allow you to rebuild." The cameras captured every subtle expression, trembling gesture, and fleeting glance, producing a visceral and deeply engaging portrayal of heartbreak and confrontation. Producers continued to orchestrate the scene carefully, balancing drama with the emotional well-being of the participants. Camera angles, shot lengths, and timing were meticulously planned to maximize the storytelling impact without exploiting the individuals involved. The result was a narrative that felt authentic, raw, and irresistibly compelling. A drama that captured viewers' attention worldwide. Social media engagement intensified as the night progressed. Fans replayed clips, debated actions and reactions, and speculated endlessly about the fallout. The DNA revelation became a cultural touchstone, driving discussions about trust, betrayal, and human emotion. The story had grown beyond its original context, evolving into a phenomenon that combined personal stakes, public scrutiny, and media spectacle in a perfect storm of engagement. As the day concluded, backstage remained charged. Emotional exhaustion, lingering resentments, and unresolved conflicts pervaded the atmosphere. Cameras continued recording subtle gestures and interactions, preserving the drama for future episodes and ensuring that every nuance of the unfolding saga was captured. The DNA revelation had reshaped relationships, trust, and narratives irreversibly, creating a story that would captivate audiences for months and keep emotional stakes high. Fans, commentators, and insiders agreed that this chapter was transformative. Emotions were raw, alliances fragile, and tensions high. The drama set in motion by Kendra's revelation ensured that the narrative would continue unfolding unpredictably, intensely, and with profound emotional resonance, cementing its place as an unforgettable moment in reality television history. The next morning arrived heavy with anticipation. A quiet tension that felt almost suffocating as Jasmine stepped onto the studio set. Her movements were careful, measured, every step betraying a mix of exhaustion, dread, and determination. The previous days had left her emotionally raw, each encounter with Kirk and Kendra reopening wounds that refused to close. Her eyes darted constantly, scanning the set for any sign of betrayal or confrontation, and even the softest whisper from a friend sent ripples of anxiety through her body. Kirk arrived shortly after, cautious and deliberate, hands shoved into his pockets, jaw set tight, his eyes reflecting worry, guilt, his eyes reflecting worry. Simmering tension into a full-blown emotional eruption. Filming commenced, and every movement, glance, and word was magnified by the cameras. Jasmine's friends hovered nearby, offering whispered reassurances, but their presence seemed only to highlight the depth of her isolation and emotional fracture. "Everything feels upside down," Jasmine whispered under her breath, her hands trembling as she clutched her phone, scrolling through messages of support, judgment, and speculation. Kirk approached, voice low and deliberate. "We'll get through this together, Jasmine. Just trust me." She looked at him briefly, anger and sorrow flashing in her eyes before she turned away, retreating into the turmoil of her own emotions. The first confrontation erupted without warning. Jasmine faced Kendra, her voice trembling but firm. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why let me live in this lie?" Kendra's response was calm, measured, cutting through the tension like a knife. "Because the truth has its time. Too early, and it destroys. Too late, and it wounds. I did what was necessary." The collision of betrayal, hurt, defiance, and reluctant admiration created an electric tension in the room. The cameras captured each fleeting expression, every micro-movement, broadcasting the raw drama to audiences worldwide, keeping viewers riveted and emotionally invested. Kirk's attempts to mediate only seemed to escalate the tension. Reaching for Jasmine's hand, his gesture intended to reassure and console, was met with a sharp pullback. "It's not about you," she whispered, voice breaking under the weight of heartbreak and disbelief. Online, fans dissected every frame, analyzing micro-expressions, debating authenticity, and speculating on the motivations and emotional states of each participant. Hashtags such as #JasmineHeartbreak, #KendraReveal, and #NotKirkBaby dominated social media feeds, amplifying engagement and spreading the story across global audiences in real time. Family members became increasingly vocal. Whispered debates erupted into arguments, with cousins, aunts, and friends staking claims in the moral and emotional landscape the DNA revelation had created. Old grudges resurfaced, inflaming tensions, and shifting alliances unpredictably. Each comment, glance, and interaction carried heightened significance, reshaping the narrative both on camera and behind the scenes. The studio transformed into a crucible of loyalty, betrayal, and emotional conflict, with cameras capturing every charged moment. Producers and crew walked a fine line, attempting to balance the need for drama with concern for the emotional safety of participants. Subtle interventions, monitoring of triggers, and careful camera placement ensured the raw intensity of interactions was preserved without pushing anyone past their limit. Insiders later described the day as one of the most challenging in reality television history. A masterclass in emotional capture and narrative tension. Audience reaction was immediate and relentless. Viewers scrutinized every glance, hesitation, and gesture, debating emotional authenticity, intentions, and potential consequences. Some praised Kendra for her courage and commitment to truth. Others condemned her timing, while empathy for Jasmine's heartbreak dominated discussions. Kirk's measured responses became a focal point for speculation, interpreted as guilt, stoicism, or conflicted love. The story had expanded beyond the studio, creating a global dialogue where emotional investment ran high and opinions clashed fiercely. Tensions peaked during a private confrontation between Jasmine and Kirk. Voices rose, tears flowed, and years of pent-up frustration erupted. "I trusted you with everything," Jasmine cried, her vulnerability laid bare. Kirk responded, a mix of remorse, frustration, and defensiveness. "I never wanted this. I never asked for it." The cameras captured the intensity, broadcasting an emotionally charged sequence that fueled social media debate, memes, and reaction videos. This private conflict became a defining moment in the saga, compelling audiences worldwide. Friends and family navigated the storm of emotions alongside the central figures. Whispered disputes escalated, loyalties shifted, and tensions extended beyond the immediate trio. The unfolding narrative now involved a wider web of individuals, each interaction shaping perceptions, alliances, and emotional stakes, ensuring that unpredictability and engagement remained at a peak. Backstage, moments of reflection revealed layers of complexity. Crew members, though maintaining professional composure, were visibly affected by the emotional intensity, witnessing raw human reactions and cascading consequences. Every tear, raised voice, and subtle gesture influenced subsequent interactions and the trajectory of the story, cementing the day as a milestone of emotional engagement and narrative depth. As filming continued, Jasmine's oscillation between vulnerability, rage, and resilience formed a gripping emotional arc. Kirk balanced remorse with tentative support, while Kendra maintained her calm, stabilizing presence. The interplay of personalities created a multidimensional narrative, keeping audiences captivated and analysts speculating on every possible outcome. Each twist and turn heightened suspense, ensuring the story remained dynamic and unpredictable. By evening, emotional intensity reached a crescendo. Jasmine confronted Kendra, tears streaking her face, voice raw. "You've upended my life," she cried. Kendra's calm/measured reply cut through the storm. "I gave you the truth. It hurts, yes, but only truth can allow you to rebuild." Cameras captured every micro-expression, every trembling hand, every fleeting glance, producing a visceral, intimate portrayal of heartbreak and confrontation that resonated worldwide. Producers orchestrated each scene with precision, balancing drama and authenticity. Camera angles, shot lengths, and timing were meticulously chosen to maximize storytelling impact without exploiting the participants. The result was a compelling, emotionally charged narrative that kept viewers engaged, driving social media discussion and global attention. Outside the studio, fans dissected every interaction, creating reaction videos, memes, and endless debate. The DNA revelation became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring conversation about trust, betrayal, and human emotion. The story had transcended its original context, evolving into a global spectacle of personal stakes, public scrutiny, and media spectacle. As the night drew on, backstage remained charged. Exhaustion, lingering resentment, and unresolved conflicts pervaded the space. Cameras continued rolling, capturing subtle gestures and micro-interactions, ensuring the saga remained vivid and compelling for future episodes. The DNA revelation had irrevocably altered relationships, trust, and narratives, creating a story that would dominate discussions for months to come. Commentators and insiders recognized the gravity of the moment. Emotions ran raw, alliances were fragile, and tension hung thick, almost tangible, in the air. Kendra's revelation had detonated a storm of uncertainty, ensuring that the story would continue to unfold unpredictably and with profound emotional resonance. The next morning, a brittle quiet settled over the studio, heavy with anticipation and the echoes of the previous day's emotional upheaval. Jasmine arrived first, her movements tentative, shoulders hunched under the invisible weight of betrayal. Sleepless nights had left dark circles under her eyes, and her gaze seemed trapped in a loop, replaying the DNA revelation over and over. Kirk appeared moments later, cautious and guarded, hands in his pockets, jaw tight, eyes flicking toward Jasmine in search of a flicker of forgiveness, a sign that their fractured trust could be rebuilt. Kendra, seated with unnerving poise, radiated a calm that belied the chaos she had unleashed, observing the room with the patience of someone who knew the emotional bomb she had dropped. Cameras rolled as filming commenced, capturing every heartbeat, glance, and tremor. Jasmine's friends hovered nearby, offering whispers of comfort that barely penetrated the wall of shock surrounding her. "I don't even know who I am anymore," she murmured, fingers fidgeting at the edge of her sleeve. Kirk approached cautiously, voice low and steady. "We'll get through this, Jasmine. I'll be here every step of the way." She glanced at him briefly, a storm of hurt and defiance flashing in her eyes, before turning inward, retreating from the world around her. The first confrontation erupted suddenly. Jasmine faced Kendra, unable to contain the torrent of emotions. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" she demanded, voice trembling yet firm. Kendra's reply was precise, almost surgical. "Timing is everything, Jasmine. The truth can destroy if revealed too soon. It must come when it can be absorbed. I did what was necessary." The collision of betrayal, grief, defiance, and reluctant respect charged the room, every micro-expression amplified by the cameras. Kirk stepped closer, offering presence as a balm, but Jasmine recoiled. "It's not about you," she whispered, voice breaking with disbelief. Online, fans dissected each moment. Hashtags like #JasmineCollapse, #Kendra Reveal, and #NotKirkBaby trended instantly, drawing millions into the emotional drama. Family members, previously silent, became participants, arguments flaring as cousins, aunts, and friends staked out moral ground. Old grudges resurfacing and reshaping alliances unpredictably. The studio became a pressure cooker where loyalty, love, and betrayal collided. Producers carefully balancing chaos and safety to preserve both authenticity and emotional well-being. Insiders later described the day as one of the most emotionally charged in reality television history. Tensions escalated during a private confrontation between Jasmine and Kirk. Voices rose, tears flowed, and years of suppressed anger and heartbreak erupted. "I trusted you with everything," Jasmine shouted, anguish raw. Kirk's voice trembled with remorse. "I never wanted any of this. I never asked for it." Cameras captured every flicker of emotion, broadcasting a moment that dominated social media, inspiring memes, reaction videos, and endless debate. Friends and family navigated their own stakes, whispers escalating to confrontations, alliances shifting unpredictably, keeping the narrative dynamic and suspenseful. Backstage moments revealed further layers, crew members visibly affected as raw emotion cascaded through the studio, shaping interactions and narrative. As the day progressed, Jasmine oscillated between vulnerability, defiance, and resilience, forming a compelling emotional arc. Kirk attempted a balance of remorse and support, while Kendra maintained a stabilizing calm, controlling the storm she had unleashed. Each interaction heightened suspense, ensuring the story remained unpredictable. By late afternoon, tension peaked again. Jasmine confronted Kendra, tears streaking her face, voice raw. "You've destroyed everything I thought I knew." Kendra's unwavering reply cut through the storm. "I gave you the truth. It hurts, yes, but only truth allows rebuilding." Cameras captured trembling gestures and subtle glances, producing an intimate portrayal of heartbreak and confrontation that resonated deeply with audiences. Producers orchestrated the scene meticulously, balancing dramatic intensity with participants' safety, while outside, fans dissected every interaction, producing reaction videos, memes, and endless speculation. The DNA revelation became a cultural phenomenon, sparking debates on trust, betrayal, and human emotion, transcending its original context into a global spectacle. As night fell, backstage remained charged with unresolved conflict, exhaustion, lingering resentment, and uncertainty filled the air. Cameras continued rolling, capturing subtle gestures and interactions, ensuring that the saga remained vivid and compelling for future episodes. The revelation irrevocably shifted relationships, trust, and narrative trajectories, creating a story that would dominate conversations for months. The drama set in motion by Kendra's revelation ensured the narrative would continue to unfold unpredictably, intensely, and with profound emotional resonance, solidifying this chapter as an unforgettable moment in reality television history. And so here we are, standing at the edge of a story that has captivated hearts, shocked fans, and divided loyalties like never before. Jasmine's collapse, Kirk's quiet endurance, and Kendra's unflinching revelation have created a whirlwind of emotions that refuses to settle. leaving everyone wondering what happens next. As you watch these moments unfold, it's impossible not to feel every heartbeat, every tear, every tremor of anger, betrayal, and hope that pulses through this tangled web of human emotion. Fans around the world have made their voices heard. The comments section is ablaze with speculation, support, and heated debate. People are choosing sides, defending Jasmine, questioning Kendra, analyzing Kirk, and trying to predict the fallout that will inevitably reshape relationships. Every opinion counts, every theory adds to the story, and your voice, as a viewer, is part of the collective experience driving the drama forward. Now is the moment to make your presence felt. Hit that like button if you felt the weight of Jasmine's heartbreak, shared a moment of disbelief at Kendra's revelation, or struggled to understand Kirk's restraint. Every click, every interaction, every engagement ensures these stories reach people everywhere, connecting fans through shared astonishment, empathy, and passion. Subscribe to never miss a moment of what comes next. With so many unanswered questions, will Jasmine forgive? Will Kirk repair the bond tested by betrayal? How will Kendra navigate the fallout? Staying connected means witnessing every shocking development, every emotional high and low, alongside the cast. Comment below with your thoughts, theories, and feelings. Tell us how you would react in Jasmine's shoes. Interpret Kirk's silence, or judge Kendra's timing. Your words shape the ongoing narrative, fuel the global conversation, and ensure the story continues to resonate. Engage, because engagement is power. Every share brings the drama to someone new, transforming a single revelation into a cultural phenomenon. Remember, these are raw, unfiltered human emotions laid bare. The tension, heartbreak, shock, and moments of hope are all captured in real time, and your presence enhances the experience. By interacting, liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, you become a participant, an active member of the audience that drives the stakes higher. So step fully into the story. Witness every shock, heartbreak, and triumph. Let your voice, reactions, and engagement shape what comes next. Hit like, subscribe, comment, and share. Stand alongside fans worldwide, invested, shocked, empathetic, and hungry for what unfolds. Jasmine, Kirk, and Kendra have opened a door into a story that will continue to challenge, surprise, and move everyone who watches. Don't just watch, participate. Your engagement makes this living, breathing drama whole. Stay tuned, stay involved, and above all, stay part of the conversation. Stay part of the conversation.